In today's video, I'm beating Britain's Great Rail Rip-Off when I learned the state-run intercity railway LNER was charging nearly £200 for a standard class ticket back to London from Edinburgh. I figured there has to be a better way, so I set myself a challenge. Can I beat the train back to London by flying? Via Amsterdam? And can I do it all for less money? I'll be heading from Edinburgh Castle to St Paul's in London to make it fair, totalling my costs en route and seeing if I can really beat Britain's Great Rail Rip-Off. And stay tuned, I'll also give you 3 less wacky ways around these horrible prices and explain why they're so high at the end of the video. Let's go! So here I am at Edinburgh Castle, about to embark on this rather unusual challenge. So it's time for me to get an Uber and head to the airport. Will I beat the train and will I keep the cost under £199? Let's go, we're off to Edinburgh Airport. And let the race begin from Edinburgh Castle. But first, let's remind ourselves of what I've got to beat before I start. I found this fare 4 days in advance from Edinburgh to London with a 45-minute connection in Amsterdam in the Netherlands for £127 one way and just 3 hours 15 travel time. LNER, as it's the summer season, are really busy and have no fixed or semi-flex tickets available a few days out. You're stuck with a fully flexible £199.60 fare for most of the day, and I'll be racing the 1300 which arrives at King's Cross at 1740. I'll be heading to a central location to make it fair, St Paul's Cathedral. Add in 5 minutes of changing time at King's Cross, and I reckon if I took the train, I could get to St Paul's at 18:02. So we'll make that the time to beat. 18:02 and £199.60 of budget. It's not a great start as my Uber is nearly £25, more expensive than I expected. And it doesn't come right to the castle, so it's a brisk walk around the corner for it. I figure I have the budget for this though. I wonder if I'll spend some of the surplus at the airport or on something else. We rush to the airport as our 1300 train prepares to leave Edinburgh for its way south. And I'm a bit nervous. Lots can happen with airports and airlines, and 2 flights plus a really tight connection in one of the world's biggest airport terminals in Amsterdam is asking for a lot of things to go right today. I think this might be the latest I've ever arrived at an airport before a flight. Gonna have to rely on security being pretty efficient. Oh, and by the way, I'm not cheating. I have got a bag to check in, just as a test, and I make it with 2 minutes to spare on the bag check-in. Goodbye, I hope you make the connection, and I hope I see you again in London City. Excuse me, sorry. Well, made it through security fine. That was pretty efficient, through in about 5 minutes. However, I've got some good news and some bad news. So the bad news is my flight has a delay of about 15 minutes, which isn't too bad, other than the fact I do have a really short connection in Amsterdam. So from 45 minutes, it's gone down to about half an hour, and that's making me a bit nervous. The first flight of today will be on this Boeing 737-800 of KLM, Royal Dutch Airlines. And I really like flying with KLM because there's something that's quite often available to me when flying on short haul. Well, I've got plenty of budget left, and I was actually offered an upgrade for £55 one way. Now, that takes us really perilously close to busting our budget, but fortunately I have a few thousand miles to spare, just £41 out of the piggy bank, and I'm still well within budget. Yes, that's right, I do need my passport. Although my final destination is the UK, this is an international flight, and just in case I've got a misconnection or I get stranded, yes, I really do need my passport for both legs. I'll also be entering the UK at London City Airport, having never formally left it. The connections in Amsterdam are entirely airside, and there's no need to enter the Netherlands. Today's video is brought to you by Espresso Displays, who sent me their Espresso 15 monitor plus a whole bunch of accessories. They claim this is the perfect portable monitor for traveling professionals. I've had it a few months and I agree. Here's why. I found having a second screen so useful for my workflow. I work really well when I'm doing more than one thing at once. For example, literally writing a script while having a separate screen available to do my research, or I'll be planning a future trip and making my video thumbnail at the same time. Espresso sent the product to me in the first place because they reckon it works really well on the road. And I've got to say, while I'm traveling, this has been a real game changer. I work in lounges and on trains all the time. It's really easy to pack away and set up. And they also have a new Stand Plus, which they were so excited about, they asked me to delay the video so they could rush one to me. The display also doesn't need its own power source, so no extra socket, plug or battery, and it connects in with just one USB-C cable. I've even found it useful for watching videos on trains while eating, as it doesn't take up the same amount of space on the table as a keyboard. This is a really high quality monitor. As you've seen, it's really thin, super portable, weighs less than a kilo, and it fits really neatly into my backpack. The software it comes with is also really easy to use and set up. Grab hold of one of the Espresso 15 displays for yourself using my link and my code, which I put in the description below. It's kind of crazy that this flight was so cheap and the train was so expensive, so much so that it left me enough budget to get a business class upgrade on a 1 hour and 30-minute flight. I feel that's pretty extravagant, and it just goes to show how expensive that rail fare really is. Well, of course it's European business class, so it really isn't too much to write home about. You do get the middle seat blocked, but the seats are pretty much the same as economy, just with slightly enhanced seat pitch and legroom. Just having a look now at the train I would have got from Edinburgh, and it's just approaching Berwick at the moment, so it's nearly left Scotland. The race is on. Well, the train appears to be making good time, but the big question is, will we catch up this 15-minute delay? So far, so good. I'm enjoying the couple of inches extra legroom and the fact my whole row is empty. There's no seatmate in the aisle today.
The only thing we can do right now is bring you to Amsterdam as fast as safe as possible. So this one we're flying high speed. Expected landing time at this moment around 5 minutes past 4.
European business class on KLM comes with a meal, which on very short trips like this is a salad or snack box. This was actually delicious and really beautifully presented too. And I still can't believe I'm under budget because, assuming no other delays or foul-ups, I only have a contactless transit fare to pay in London to get from the airport to St Paul's Cathedral. Well, I wouldn't be getting this on LNER standard class. Cheers. And fingers crossed for a good connection, eh? The good news is, in the end, we managed to claw back about 5 minutes of that 15-minute delay.
Disarm the slides.
Thank you, goodbye. On disembarking, it's about 10 past 4 local time. We're an hour ahead, so in the UK it's just 10 past 3, and the 1300 train is passing Northallerton in North Yorkshire. It's still on time, and with a little hustle, I aim to be too. Okay, I think by a huge stroke of luck, my next gate is just a couple of 100 yards away. And I think we're going to make it. Regional jet flights from Amsterdam out of the Schengen zone to the UK usually use bus gates, and that means going downstairs. And it's as luck would have it, they're boarding Group 3 as I arrive. I haven't stopped moving since I got off the plane. Thank you. Back when KLM flew Fokker 70 and Fokker 100 aircraft, this regional jet parking area was called the Fokker Farm. I'm not sure what it's called now they have an all-Embraer regional fleet. Any suggestions? Looks like we're going to make it.
But this does not apply if you're seated at row 1 or row 11. In case of an evacuation, leave everything behind and follow the instructions of the crew.
I'm in regular economy for this flight in this pleasant Embraer 190 aircraft. This one is full though, and my seatmate really does not want to get off his laptop while we're taxiing. I've mentioned how I work on the move a lot, but I never have to be quite this busy, thankfully. We briefly encounter another 15-minute delay, but all is not lost. This flight is scheduled to take 1 hour and 10 minutes, but I've done this before and it can often take less than an hour. I'm really looking forward to seeing just how much time we catch up on our way to London, and I'm really optimistic. Back in the UK, our train is stopping at Doncaster. Do you reckon we'll do this in under an hour? Let's see. I had completely forgotten that KLM in European economy still serve a small snack, water and coffee. I've had so much more service, in both business and even in economy, than I would on LNER's standard class service from Edinburgh to London. This flight is extremely short. We fly straight into the east end of London past Southend Airport. And we're down, in the end just a few minutes late, and thanks to the magic of time zones, it looks like we've time travelled. Just 55 minutes in the air today. Thank you, bye-bye. Bye. Now to hope passports isn't too busy. Now, I'm not daft enough to film passports, but you'll have to believe me, we were literally the only people arriving at that time, and my bag was on the belt within 5 minutes of getting through the UK border. I've just missed a train to Bank, but it doesn't really matter, we're on the home straight now. And the train that I should have got at 1 PM is not even anywhere near King's Cross, it's still half an hour away. So we're on Easy Street now, we should be at St Paul's in about 25 to 30 minutes. It's been a really great trip. The final leg of my journey is from London City Airport to St Paul's, the Central Line tube station. The contactless fare coming in at just £3, and that leaves me, with all that extravagance of paying for the business class upgrade and having taken Uber to the airport, under budget at £195.96 spent, a saving on the LNER fare.
This is 5, this train
The very last vehicle today is this Central Line train to take us to St Paul's. I honestly can't believe that I've made it with so much time to spare. The train would have got me here at 18:02 and I am 17 minutes early and a few pounds under budget. It's been a pretty hectic day and I wouldn't be doing it again in a hurry, but it just goes to show. Sometimes it really is cheaper and faster to leave the UK and connect in another country to get between the two capitals of Scotland and England. Of course, it's pretty stupid to fly domestically by connecting in another country. But don't worry, as promised, I've got some ways around these ridiculous fares that don't involve you leaving the rails. It really helps to know that LNER are conducting a fares trial at the moment. They've removed the off-peak returns. That's a ticket that you could buy at any time, even up to departure, valid on any off-peak train, really flexible and refundable. And that effectively acted as a cap on their fixed time, non-refundable, one train only advances. If you take away the off-peak return available for sale, well, you can raise the price of those advances to whatever you like. There's effectively no cap. And if those fixed advance tickets sell out, or they just expect the trains to be busy, when you look online, you'll see exactly what I saw. There's only the really expensive, fully flexible ticket available, and that is just no good. So, how'd you get around it? Well, the first thing you must know is that every single train fare in Britain is priced between two stations, which is called a flow. That could be Edinburgh to London, or it could be York to Doncaster, or it could be Mottingham to Nottingham. Yeah, that's a real station pair. Now, LNER's trial is limited to this area only, these station pairs, but off-peak fares can be valid from much further afield. Sure, Haymarket, Edinburgh Gateway, Edinburgh Park, all covered by the trial, but what about Dalmeny or Slateford? And you should try booking from slightly further afield to take advantage of those cheaper off-peak fares. You might even find some super off-peak fares as well. This one is valid on the 1300 train that arrives in London at 1740, the exact train that I was racing in the video. And you can legitimately start short at Edinburgh Waverley on that ticket. There's no need to start your journey from further afield, from the origin of the ticket. You see, LNER didn't actually ban the off-peak tickets. No, all they did was remove them from sale for those particular station pairs. And of course, they're banking on the fact that you don't know this. But now you do, just buy from further afield. Alternatively, if standard class is your thing and you're traveling on a budget, you might want to look at open access operator Lumo. That's a train company I took last year from Edinburgh to London, and some of the fares on that route are as low as £19.90 one way. Whichever, even if you find a higher fare, it almost always undercuts LNER in my experience. There's a comprehensive review of Lumo on this channel, which I'll link below, and is well worth a watch if you're considering that as an alternative. And lastly, you can just try splitting tickets using a ticket splitting app or site, and you never know, you might just find a bargain. Train tickets should not be this complicated, and I know I did this video as a bit of a stunt, but it should not be cheaper and faster to fly via another country and still have change for Ubers and business class upgrades. LNER is owned by the government, which is instructing train companies to squeeze passengers for revenue, and that's why the trial is in progress. And I recommend you complain to LNER directly or your MP if you think these fare rises by stealth are the thin end of the wedge. Anyway, thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next video. As usual, it's bye for now. Cheers.